Ocean Pines is a vibrant residential community nestled on Maryland's eastern shore. With over 9 miles of waterfront property, amenities like an 18-hole championship golf course and a public yacht club, and a rich history dating back to 1968. Of course, if you live here, you probably know most of that. And if you don't, it's almost all apparent from your first visit. Each week on the PinesCast, we work to bring out the ocean pines that might be less apparent. We celebrate the region, the amenities, and, most of all, the people who make and keep Ocean Pines a special place to live. Welcome to the PinesCast, your source of news and insights about Ocean Pines and the official podcast of the Ocean Pines Association. Hi, I'm Tony Russo, and before we get the show started, I have 2 notes that are of varying importance. The first note is for our non-hardcore Christian listeners. January 5th is known as the Epiphany. It's the day that the wise men were said to have come to visit the child in the manger, and we reference that in this show, and if you don't know that that's why we're referencing it, I should let you know now. The other thing is, this is a fun show, and these are great interviews, but I am a professional reporter, and it's usually inappropriate to conduct an anonymous interview. And in situations like this, I always struggle with the caprice of it, because this guest needs and will get no introduction, but he will get an explanation that I hope will serve. I was trying to write one myself, and then it occurred to me that Francis Church in the New York Sun did it so much better. And so we're going to start with the words of Mr. Church and then get into the show. Dear editor, I am 8 years old. Some of my little friends say there is no Santa Claus. Papa says, if you see it in the sun, it's so. Please tell me the truth. Is there a Santa Claus? Virginia O'Hanlon. Virginia, your little friends are wrong. They have been affected by the skepticism of a skeptical age. They do not believe except they see. They think that nothing can be which is not comprehensible by their little minds. All minds, Virginia, whether they be men's or children's, are little. In this great universe of ours, man is a mere insect and ant in his intellect as compared with the boundless world around him, as measured by the intelligence capable of grasping the whole of truth and knowledge. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. He exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist, and you know that they abound and give to your life its highest beauty and joy. Alas, how dreary would be the world if there were no Santa Claus. It would be as dreary as if there were no Virginias. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry, no romance to make tolerable this existence. We should have no enjoyment except in sense and sight. The eternal light with which childhood fills the world would be extinguished. Not believe in Santa Claus. You might as well not believe in fairies. You might get your papa to hire men to watch in all the chimneys on Christmas Eve to catch Santa Claus. But even if you did not see Santa Claus coming down, what would that prove? Nobody sees Santa Claus, but that is no sign that there is no Santa Claus. The most real things in the world are those that neither children nor men can see. Did you ever see fairies dancing on the lawn? Of course not. But that's no proof that they're not there. Nobody can conceive or imagine all the wonders there are unseen and unseeable in the world. You tear apart a baby's rattle and see what makes the noise inside, but there is a veil covering the unseen world which not the strongest man, nor even the united strength of all of the strongest men that ever lived could tear apart. Only faith, poetry, love, romance can push aside that curtain and view and picture the supernal beauty and glory beyond. Is it all real? Ah, Virginia, in all this world there is nothing else real and abiding. No Santa Claus. Thank God he lives, and lives forever. 1,000 years from now, Virginia, nay, 10 times 10,000 years from now, he will continue to make glad the heart of childhood. Francis B. Church, editor of the New York Sun 1897. And so I hope you enjoy what follows as much as we enjoyed making it. And I want to wish all of you the best for the winter holidays and the happiest new year. This week we have a guest who is as old as his tongue and a little bit older than his teeth. And we're going to talk about how he got this 1 month a year gig. Let's call it that. So welcome, Mr. Kringle.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. The big question is, how does one get into becoming a member of the Kringle family?
Well, years ago, my father worked with various organizations that gave back to people in need, and I was tagged as a very young age to be one of Santa's helpers. So I donned the costume of the red suit and the magic shoes and spent some time with some needy children in Southern Maryland, Waldorf, Maryland. We gave back to the children, asking them questions about what they would like for Christmas and have they been good or bad, and just general chit-chat about their well-being. And we sat around and ate and had a meal with about 100 handicapped children, and it started from there and it just never stopped. I just kept enjoying paying forward and giving back to needy children.
Did it have any effect on your facial hair choice? Like, did the beard make the man, or did the man make the beard, I guess?
Well, I guess the beard made the man, because it was kind of like a last minute thing. Said, hey, Santa Claus backed out, tag, you're it. So as a 20-year-old, it was kind of difficult to play somebody of age and stature who has spent all the time giving back to needy kids.
Mm-hmm. But did you have you developed a beard since then, or is it still?
Yes, I have. I've developed a beard, and unfortunately, it has turned jet white. When I was 20 years old, my beard was brown like my hair when I had hair, and now it's all white. And I actually cut my beard off about 25, 26 years ago and started growing it this past April. My son's birthday is in June, and he turned 21, so I cut it off before his birth, and I grew it back before it became a man.
Oh, that's very cool. That is super cool. I remember as a kid myself watching the Rankin Bass Here Comes Santa Claus, and how shocking it was to see, this depiction of Santa Claus with a non-white beard. I don't know if they like the claymation.
I remember it well. I've followed it since the early 60s, because the day I found out the movie was going to be shown on, I believe, on ABC, we went out and bought a TV guide, and I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't have more pictures of Rudolph and Santa Claus in the article. It forced me to read, which I was okay with. But I remember the animation very well and fell in love with everything related to Santa Claus and Christmas and Kris Kringle. That's why I'm here today.
Yeah, and that's the idea of a skinny young Santa Claus was just so novel. I guess it's so novel to every child who sees it, because no one sees that before they've seen the real Santa Claus. So they're, it's like, oh yeah, it's like an interesting origin story that you never considered. You're like, oh yeah, there is a nice Santa Claus our origin story, and he wasn't born a great big guy with a white beard. He was born a normal guy and became Santa Claus, and that's a nice notion to take into Christmas, isn't it?
Absolutely. And sometimes when I'm spending time with children around the holiday season and they ask questions, and one thing that I didn't know early on, that all of the reindeers that Santa has pulling a sleigh, they're all girls. And the reason they're all girls is because the boys shed their antlers before Christmas. So people out there, Rudolph happens to be a young lady.
That is a fun my reindeer trivia, and I don't like to be that persnickety guy, but the one thing that I'm persnickety about is the pair of reindeer that are in German called Thunder and Lightning, but for some reason are called Donner and Blitzen in American, it drives me a little. That's the only thing that I feel like I need to correct people on all the time, and it's become an issue between my wife and I've got to admit.
And the original book written about Rudolph listed 10 reindeer and not the total that we have now. They actually had a couple different reindeers added to it, and I guess it depends on what culture you come from. Yep,
that is fantastic. Let's play radio. Maybe we'll put together a trivia question answer sheet for before the show comes out. So when did you find that you were going to when were you called to do this annually? Was it right from the beginning, or was it an on and off thing until it started?
It was an on and off thing for me. We've moved to the shore about 12 years ago, and because I've since retired from working for a living, other than the time that I give young kids and families during the holidays, I decided to get back into being Santa Claus because it represents, obviously, a couple days of the year where the kids can really enjoy themselves and their families as well too. So it's been an on again, off again thing. It's going to be a complete on again from now until the end of my being on the earth, because I enjoy spending time with children. My grandkids love to see me dressed up as Santa Claus, and obviously we all have to give back some way. And this is just my small version of it.
And so when you're preparing, what has changed since the first time? Like, what have you gotten better at? What have you learned?
Well, years ago, I would do some research and just refresh myself on what is Santa Claus, the true meaning of Santa Claus, and we'd use a stenopad. Now I'm sitting talking to you in front of a microphone, and I have an iPhone, and I have my notes section out just in case you were to ask me questions about what are the names of the reindeer. So that's changed quite a bit from what it was from the original intent when we got started doing this.
What are the things that you go to your notes for the most? What are some of the fun facts that you like to share?
Well, fun facts related to Santa Claus and the holidays here on the shore, and specifically in Berlin. We have the 14th annual Christmas lighting that's going to be starting at 6:30 on November, and we look forward to doing that. And again, spending time with families and our neighbors. December 7th, we have a breakfast that I'll be the honoree of attending on December the 7th at between 8 and 11. I look forward to doing that. That's just a couple of things that we do here on the local level. Now, keep in mind.
I'm sorry, is that the breakfast? Is that in Ocean Pines? Is that in Berlin?
That's in Ocean Pines at the community center.
All right,
and it draws a rather large crowd. So come on down.
Yeah. I wanted to tell you a story about the Berlin Christmas tree lighting, because one year I was the one who lit the tree, and
awesome.
Yeah, but it was by accident. I was looking for a plug, and I plugged it in to kind of move. I didn't know I was plugging the Christmas tree in, and then I went back to my office, was across the street. And on my way out of town, I'm like, "Oh, who lit the Christmas tree?" I'm like, you lit the Christmas tree." And so I jumped out of my car and I ran and unplugged it.
Well, they won't let me do that. They hand me the button right at the last minute, and some young lady says, "Push now," and that's why I know it's my key to do my thing.
And you're also in the parade, though, correct?
Yes.
I don't know if you have this in your notebook, but the coldest day of the year is always the Christmas parade in Berlin. I don't know if anybody told you that, if that's your experience.
I think that's true. And also St. Patrick's Day is another one. Usually pretty brisk during that date as well.
So what was it like the first time you got to be in the parade? Because that is a very kind of rarefied thing. And, I don't know how many people are familiar with, Miracle on 34th Street, but when Santa Claus, fixes things so that he can take that ride, it's a very kind of special, like who are we going to find to sit up on this sled? So what was it like for you that first time, and how did it come about? Where was it? Was it here? Was it elsewhere?
It was in Southern Maryland, again in Waldorf. We did a parade down through the main avenue in the courthouse in Charles County. And it's very invigorating. It's really enjoyable to see how many people attend an event like that. And the ultimate is to see Santa Claus, behind the reindeer. And I got a chance to ride on the fire truck, and I've been in a helicopter, and to be in the parade and watching all the people cheer. It's very enjoyable. It's enjoyable to talk to some of the people and understand how they made it to that parade on that day and where they're from and what do they want for Christmas and things of that nature.
So, what were you doing in the helicopter? Tell me that story. That sounds fun.
Got a chance to see the Southern Maryland shoreline around Pomfret, Maryland. Enjoyed just one of those things that was kind of like hey, we really appreciate you spending the time being Santa Claus for us during our holiday celebration, and this is the way we're going to give back to you. So it was on my bucket list, and thank goodness that people saw that they were going to make it happen for me.
Oh, that's cool. So it wasn't part of you weren't like throwing candy out of the helicopter or anything.
No, not from that height.
I was just, it's rare to see Santa in a helicopter. And the fire truck is, I guess, also for parades in the fire truck.
That's correct. In Ocean City here in the Pines, I ride the fire truck to the tree lighting, which is pretty neat to see all the young kids and family members.
And do you just do the one parade? Are you in multiple parades on the shore? Or
one parade on the shore, like to increase it. I have on my bucket list to possibly go to New York for the Macy's Day and maybe sit through the interviews and the process of being determined who Santa Claus is going to be. I'd like to be able to do that one day. Oh,
that is so cool, because I didn't know that. So it's not the same. It's not the same Santa every year. It's
unfortunately it's not. But there are gentlemen out there who still have hair at my age, and their hair happens to be jet white. So they're looking for the total Santa Claus,
the total package.
Yeah.
Hey there, listeners. Are you in the Ocean Pines area and looking for a pharmacy that goes above and beyond? Look no further than Tidal Health Home Scripts. Open 6 days a week, our knowledgeable pharmacists are ready to fill your prescriptions in just minutes. Plus, we offer free home delivery in the Ocean Pines area and have a super convenient drive-through window. Need over-the-counter items? We've got a large selection. And with our monthly sales, you'll find everything you need at great prices. Conveniently located at the North Gate of Ocean Pines, Tidal Health Home Scripts is open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. To fill a prescription or arrange for a free home delivery, give us a call at 410-543-4769. That's 410-543-4769. Remember, that's Tidal Health Home Scripts, your trusted pharmacy partner. I can't shake from my head, though, this idea of growing that beard out and the kind of itchiness and maintenance it takes, because, there's a point where it gets to be a thing, right?
Absolutely. It's difficult. Not having a beard for about 21 years was a difficult thing to get back into. I started in April not knowing what it would look like right now, and not knowing if it was going to be large enough. Is it going to come out gray? Is it going to come out brown? And thank goodness it unfortunately came out gray, and I have a lot of it. So it turned out pretty good. But yeah, it's a difficult thing to maintain. Now I will cut and just trim up my mustache and my beard right before the events here at Ocean Pines, and Mrs. Claus will help me do that.
And so can you tell me about some of the other events that you have booked over the next couple of months, because you're busy. This is your time to shine.
Besides the events here at Ocean Pines, they also have Santa Claus's house that I'll sit in several nights, which the dates are still to be determined. And they may have been determined, not given to me yet, but I'll sit out there in a house in a chair, and some of the neighborhood children and their families will come and say hi, and I'll give out candy canes and find out what they want for Christmas and ask them if they've been good. And anybody who within organizations that are going to have events like this, I would be more than happy to accommodate free of charge, just to be there to make sure that I'm doing my part to give back to our neighborhood.
Now, let's talk about getting your hands on the suit. How did you how did you find the suit? Which suit did you choose? And what do you do to take care of it? Do you dry clean it? Is it
These suits are relatively inexpensive. I found a very, very nice suit, and I'm hoping that it'll last a couple of years. Now, this one is owned by the Pines, and I'm a big guy. I'm a 3X guy, so I don't know if it'll fit the next one, but I'm going to hold on to the beard for a couple of months after all the holiday season and cut it completely off again and just see how it grows back after that. But yeah, normally I did read a tag this morning that says dry clean only. So I'll take everything, the jacket and the pants and the hat and take it to the dry cleaners and let them take care of it.
And you gave me the impression that you wear a wig to be Santa Claus, or
I have a wig only because my hair is short, and I like it that way. But it gives it projects the true look of Santa Claus, and it's white, completely white, like my gloves, and my hair is brown. So my short hair may represent the Rudolph movie back in the 60s, and because the kids may or may not be familiar with that. Don't want to freak them out. I want to make sure that they see the true Santa Claus and not have questions of why does Santa Claus have short hair and it's brown.
Right. That's interesting. So I was never. I'm growing my hair out as a 54-year-old for the first time in my entire life, and I didn't realize how much grayer you look when you grow out gray hair long, as opposed to when you've had long hair all your life and it goes gray. It can be a shock. So here's to you with your brown hair. And keep it as long as you can. If you've got the white beard, then trust me, you don't want your hair very long because it won't come out brown. It's only brown when it's short.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the lesson that I've learned over this year. Can you tell me a couple stories about that kind of stick with you about kids that you've had experiences with or families that you've had experiences with over the years?
Absolutely. I've done families in need my entire career as being Santa Claus, and I've been doing with children with disabilities. So when you see children who have, excuse me for getting a little emotional, you have children who have difficulties walking and seeing and hearing. So I've had children touch my face just to see if I had the beard. And if I have long hair, and I've had children who had difficulties walking and using canes and assistance to get to me. So that kind of sticks with you to understand that, things aren't perfect for everybody.
The responsibility, I think it helps drive home the responsibility of what, of the phenomenon that you're a part of.
Yeah, exactly. And when you have parents who say, this is the first time I've seen my child smile like that, it means a lot. Touches my heart.
I can imagine. And so you are back into it this year for the first time? Did you, or was last year the first time? I'm
back into it this year for the first time.
Are you nervous?
Absolutely.
And what are some of the things that you do to get ready, like mindset wise, for an evening?
Well, I research on the web and question through Google what are some of the questions that children are asking. When you have somebody ask for a donkey, or like in the movie 34th Street, when they ask for a house, kind of difficult to say, hey, I'll take care of it. I know a realtor. So you've got to, you got to be able to answer the questions without putting mom and dad into a position where they can't meet this kid's expectations. So I do my research on that nowadays just to make sure that I'm answering correctly and not putting them in a jam.
That's always the other difficult thing, because you are, experiencing these children cold and you don't know what's going to come out of their mouths. So how do you gently hedge against that? Is there a specified way, or is it a case-by-case basis?
Well, it's always been, I've never had a problem standing in front of people and talking and understanding who they are and them understanding who I am as Santa Claus. So it's the preparedness is, I've heard just about everything from I'd like to have a full refrigerator to I'd like to have a motorcycle or even something even greater than that. So it's the experience of sitting in the seat as being Santa Claus kind of prepares you for what your answers will be.
And you were saying that you were doing some research on what kids say. Are you are you affiliated somehow? I know that there is a Santa Claus, or multiple, right? Aren't there multiple Santa Claus affiliation?
Absolutely,
groups?
there are. And I'm not affiliated with any of them as of yet, but I would not rule that out. I'm still a young man and got a lot to give back to our neighborhood and our world, and would like to be a part of those organizations. It's like anything. You jump into your first Santa Claus suit and you want to upgrade and make it as nice as possible. So you present yourself as what their expectations are of what I should look like.
Yeah, I mean, but you're just a better person than me. Like, I got into something, but it was just cigars for me to personally smoke myself. And so like this is like a public hobby. I don't know how to put that, but it's no matter how much it is for you, it's more for everybody else, and that must be like a happy burden. No?
Yeah, I totally agree. It is all about everybody else and giving back to them. And for at least a couple days of the year, families can get together and have meals without any interruptions because the world is kind of closed down because of the holidays. And I really enjoy watching and enjoy spending time with my own children and my own grandchildren.
Along those lines, when you do this for your own grandchildren now, how in on it are they, and how excited are they about being, kind of in your presence?
Well, I have young ones. I have one young granddaughter who's not quite 2 years old, and she does not know that it's granddad. I have my other kids, and some of them are with master's degrees that clearly know that dad playing Santa Claus, but they kind of go along with it because it's for one time of the year that they get to feel like a kid again.
And so what do you think you're most looking forward to in the coming months? Is there a particular event or a particular moment? I mean, are you looking forward to January 5th? What are you most looking forward to?
Well, on a local level, I'm looking forward to the Christmas tree lighting. That's a lot of fun. It's a 14th annual, brings a lot of people together, a lot of organizations who support Ocean Pines and the Eastern Shore. I really enjoy being a part of that event with the carolers and the children and the hot chocolate and everything else that goes with that. And I also enjoy the breakfast. It's a chance to sit down with the kids and understand that may be the only time that children get to see Santa Claus, because with the closure of malls nowadays, because everything is purchased online, there's a lot of things that you can do electronically to send Santa Claus, send your children a message or a shout out. But to be able to sit with them and have breakfast with them, and they may be the only time they get to see me. I get to understand how they're feeling and what they want for Christmas, and understand who their families are.
That's absolutely fantastic. And I am running out of questions. So I always like to ask a nice open-ended one. Is there something I should have asked you and didn't, or something that you thought you'd get to say, but I didn't provide the opportunity?
No. You've asked all the questions. Thank you very much. And I appreciate you taking your time today to allow me to speak to you. And I would just mention to everybody that it's time to give back. If you have not had the opportunity to do so, this is just a small part, and you should reach out to find out what your niche is in order to give back to others who are in need.
Very well. Well, thank you so much. And for the listeners, there will be links in the show notes and a message in the show notes for all of the different Santa Claus oriented events that will be going on. The PinesCast is an Ocean Pines
sounds good. Thank you very much, and good luck with your new long hair.
Written and edited
thank you very much.
Me,
We'll see how it goes. Merry
Executive
Christmas.
producer,
Merry Christmas.
Josh Davis. We would love to have you as a subscriber. Subscribing is free. Actually, on Apple, they started calling it following, so people wouldn't think that there was a fee involved. So there's no fee. Just hit the follow button on Apple, or the subscribe on Spotify or Amazon Music, or wherever you are listening to this. Now, we are also running on YouTube. It's the audio and not video, but it is still on YouTube. As always, we would love it if you wanted to rate or review this show wherever you're listening. But most of all, we want you to like the show, and we want you to listen to the show, and we want you to tell other people who you think might like the show, why they should listen. Of course, if you have anything to say about the show, good or bad, or just making suggestions about things that you would like to see, you can reach me. I am at bytonyrusso@gmail.com. That is BYTONYRUSSO @gmail.com. If you want to send me a voicemail, you can do that as well, and I will play it on the show if it is appropriate and timely. And now I can reiterate the message of peace, hope, and giving that our friend Kris Kringle delivered just a couple seconds ago, and pass it on and hope that you amplify it. And that's it this week on the PinesCast.